Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is Sunday. It's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas. I hope you are having an amazing Christmas. I hope everything's really good. Before I start this video, I want to say thank you so much for supporting Magic TV through 2022. Thank you for supporting my products that I've released, and for all the members of the NETRIX, even if you've been and gone and you tried it for a month during Black Friday, whatever it is, if you've had any interaction with me online, I want to say thank you so much. Your support means the world to me. It's very hard putting this channel together. I'm currently feeling like death, so if I'm coughing and spluttering a bit, I'm very, very sorry. But I do it because of the messages that I receive telling me that it's made a world of difference. And so thank you so much for everybody that's ever watched a video on Magic TV, for anybody who's ever clicked on a link or bought a trick that I've bought out. Thank you so much. And the future of Magic TV, as far as I'm concerned, is we're not going anywhere. We're going to carry on producing content, and we're going to carry on with this channel for as long as you guys want to see it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, this is normally where I do a Q&A. However, this week we're not going to do a Q&A. As promised a couple of weeks ago, this is going to be the hows and whys of the WOW. Now, this is probably going to be episode 1, because I do a lot of stuff with the WOW. I'm going to include 7 routines in this. And then we're going to do another one in a couple of months with another 7 routines. If you've not seen a hows and whys video before, the idea of the hows and whys video, very, very simply, is I take a particular gimmick or a particular prop and I go into it in a deep dive, and I talk about different tricks I've created throughout the years, different ideas, different concepts. I did it about a year ago with the quiver. I've done it with digital force bag. I've done it with coin boxes. I've done it with shells and flippers. You can check all of these out on the playlists on Magic TV. But this week, today, I'm going to be doing the WOW. And as I say, I'm going to present to you 7 routines, 7 tricks using the WOW, 7 tricks that I've created myself, that I've used over the years, that get really great reactions, that are kind of designed to show how you can use the WOW gimmick in a very, very different way and not do what everyone else is doing. Now, in terms of the Q&A, any questions that were asked last week, I'm going to get to next Sunday. So if you've asked a question, I'm not missing it. I promise I will get to it next Sunday. And if you've got a question that you want to have answered on next week's video, then just leave it in the comments down below. Also, leave in the comments down below what you think of the video, the tricks with the WOW. I'd really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get straight into the hows and whys of the WOW. Okay, so this is the hows and whys of the WOW gimmick. And first of all, I suppose we need to talk about what is WOW. Well, WOW is a utility device created by Masuda that's been around for a very, very, very long time. And what WOW effectively allows you to do is effectively it allows you to have a very visual change of a playing card. So you can put a card, the way that most people use it is they have a card picked, and signed, it's lost in the deck, you take an indifferent card, you put the indifferent card into the plastic gimmick, they can see it there, and then there's a visual non-sleight of hand change into the signed card. That's what most people do with it. Now, the original WOW came out many, many years ago. It lit the Magic world on fire, literally on fire, but everyone used it for exactly the same thing. Then a few years later, WOW 2 came out, which is exactly the same thing, but it was a face-down card. And many, many years ago, we're talking about 15 years ago, myself and David Penn put out a project through World Magic Shop on the WOW 2 gimmick and different uses for the WOW 2. Then WOW 3 came out, which was an improvement on the WOW, and since then there's been a bunch of stuff. Illusionist and Lloyd Barnes brought out WOW Money, WOW Cube was brought out. Recently, Chris Rawlins has brought out something called Clarity, which uses the same sort of principle or methodology or technical sort of imagining, but in using it for a peak instead of using it for a card change. It's been around for years, but it's one of those props that everybody uses exactly the same way. And what tends to happen is it's one of those tricks that goes into your bottom drawer. You tend to buy your WOW, you play around with it, you think about how clever it is, you love it, and then you go, well, yeah, that's really nice. and then you put it in your bottom drawer and you don't bother doing anything with it. And anybody who knows my work knows that I like to take tricks that everyone else puts in the bottom drawer and see what I can do with them and see all the different ways that I can actually use them for. Now, as I said, this is going to be the first in probably a series of 2, maybe even 3 videos. I'm going to be presenting 7 different ideas with the WOW here on this video, and then maybe more towards March or April, once I've got Blackpool out the way, I'm going to present another 7 or 8 routines. And all of these original routines to me. If you want to learn them, 3 of the routines are on my Vanishing Ink Masterclass. However, all of the routines are going on the NETRIX as a bonus upload. So at some point, probably the first week in January, maybe the second week at the latest, we're going to have a bonus upload to the NETRIX. All of the tricks that you're seeing here are going to be uploaded, and we're going to have a special section on the NETRIX just for the WOW. And then when I bring out the second video, all of those will go on there as well. So if you want to learn them, then you can go on the NETRIX. The purpose of this video is for me to present them to you and show you some ideas that you can actually use with the WOW. So if you're one of those people that have bought it and put it in your bottom drawer, or you just used it to do a card change and nothing else, then this is going to hopefully, maybe, just maybe, inspire you to do something else with it. So that's where we're at. That's the whole thing. Now, let's talk about the most important thing with the WOW that a lot of people don't talk about. Okay, so before we get into the various different routines and talking about them, I want to talk about the most important thing with the WOW, and that's the justification of it. Because it does kind of look like an odd little thing. It's a little plastic see-through container. It's kind of like, what is it? What's the purpose of using it? So what you need to do, first of all, before you use the WOW Gimmick, you need to justify the use of this. And there's a few different ways, and I'm sure you've got your own way, but it's really important to justify it. I'm not one of those people that says that you shouldn't be using unorganic objects when you perform. I'm all for bringing out crazy items and crazy props and doing magic with them. Absolutely fine, not a problem at all. However, I think when you're doing something like this, it is important to justify the prop. Now, the way I justify it in a few different ways. One way that I do justify it is by talking about it's a device that you picked up to prevent sleight of hand, because everybody knows that magicians can do sleight of hand and can manipulate things. But if I take this card and I put it inside here, well then immediately what we have is we have a situation where I can't manipulate it. I can't go anywhere near it. I can't touch it. I can't go close to it because it's surrounded by plastic. Just bringing it out as a sleight of hand proof device is fine. That's absolutely fine. That'll fly. You can talk about collectible card games and talk about baseball trading cards or Pokemon Go or Magic the Gathering or something like that, and talk about how these are sold to people that play collectible card games to keep their cards in good condition, because some of them can be worth a lot of money. And then you can take that that gimmick and you can say, well, I'm gonna, you can justify it by using that, and then you can say, I'm going to use it because I'm going to put a playing card in there, and that will isolate that card away from every other card in the deck. That's also a fantastic way to justify the use of the WOW. Absolutely not a problem at all. There's so many different ways that you can justify it. But do think about this before you actually perform any routines with the WOW. Do think about all the different ways that you can actually justify the use of a WOW, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So now, without further ado, let's get into some of the tricks that I'm going to be going through on this week's video. Okay, so the first trick that I'm going to be talking about is something called WOW transposition. And this is one of the very first uses that I ever developed with the WOW. Because I immediately realized what we have here is we have a tool that allows us to change one card for another card, which is really cool. And that's what everyone was using it for, just a revelation of a signed card. And I started thinking, well, what if you could use it as a transposition? What if you could use it by having 2 cards change places? And when you see the performance of this routine, there's a few things that are important that I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. But one is using the WOW in conjunction with some basic sleight of hand as well. So what you're going to see here is a multi-phase transposition routine where 2 cards change places. And the first couple of transpositions take place without even using the WOW. They just take place using basic sleight of hand, right? Once those 2 phases are out the way, you then go into a couple of phases that use the WOW, but because you've used sleight of hand beforehand, it doesn't feel unorganic to bring this prop in at that point. And then you've got the big finale, which I want to talk about because I think this is a very interesting use of the WOW that I've not really seen many other people explore. So, with that being said, let's start off by looking at a performance of WOW Transposition.
Oh, Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Yo.
Good stuff. This, you've seen one of these before. This is to protect, you know, when you buy collectible card games like Magic the Gathering and stuff, it keeps them in good nick. And this is obviously a deck of playing cards.
It is.
The reason I'm using this thing is it's going to help me prove that what I'm about to do is not using sleight of hand. Because every single time I do this, people say, Craig, because that's my name, Craig. They say, Craig, I know how this works, it's sleight of hand. And that's not the case. So we've got this little see-through thing to prove. We'll get to that in a minute. First of all, I need to show you what the trick is. So I'm going to run down the deck. Just say stop.
Stop.
Now, I'm all 4 options. You happy with there, yeah?
Sure.
Yeah, cool. It doesn't matter the card that you've picked. The 5 of hearts. Are we cool with that?
Yep.
Because if you're happy, I'm happy. We'll put the 5 right there. Can you put your hand on it for me? Fantastic. I'm going to get a different card as well. So as I go down, just say stop.
Stop.
And that would be there. Now, if this is close to a 5, we're going to do it again. Because I want it to be a really contrasting card like a King of Clubs.
That's pretty contrasting.
That's about as good as you can get, right? So watch the 5. I'm going to cover up the King, just like you're covering up the 5, right? And we're going to try and do something. Watch. 1, 2, 3. You see, I've got the 5 now. Have a look under the hand. Seriously, have a look under the hand. You got the King, right?
What the fuck?
Now, there's a rule in Magic.
My hand was on that, dude.
I know, right? Now, there's a rule in Magic. You shouldn't do it again. I'm going to do it again. Look, there's the King, there's the 5, yeah? So I'm going to mix them up so you don't know which one's where. Mixy, mixy, mixy. Mixy, mixy, mixy. Mixy, mixy, mixy. Now, you're going to put your hand on one of them. Which one do you want to put your hand on? Do you know which ones were?
No.
So you didn't know that was the 5 and this is the King, no? It's fine. It's fine. Because look, if I take the King and shake it, I mean it's the same thing this time you see it go. I've got the have a look. No, right? It's almost like real magic.
My hand was on it.
Now, this is where people say I'm using sleight of hand. Even you, my hand was on it, you're still going to think somehow I switched it. So I'm not going to use the rest of the deck, right? I'm just going to use the 5 and I'm going to use the King. And what I'm going to do is this little see-through protectory thing. I'm going to put the 5 inside there like this so that I can't cheat. That's fair, right? So you know exactly what's going on now. Because now the 5 is encased in a piece of plastic. You can see it the whole time. So I can't manipulate it. I'm not even using the rest of the deck. Look, it's out my reach. So you can't get it. And the King's here, right?
Yeah.
So watch. Watch the King. Watch the 5. Watch the King. Watch the 5. Watch the King. Watch the 5. It's pretty fast, don't you think? That's the King there now.
What the f...
I know, right? So if the King's here, what's over there?
The 5?
So you didn't see them switch back then? Most people did. You missed it. It's fine. A lot of people do. Look, I tell you what. Look, hold your hand out for me. I'm going to put the thing there. Put your other hand on top. So you got the 5. I've got the King, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and make this King vanish and appear inside there. Are you ready? Watch. I'm going to put it under my my hand like that. Okay. So just bring your hand up a little bit further. Watch. I won't use this. If I do this, I can rub it away. Just like that. Lift up your hand. You had the 5, right? Now there's the King. But this time I didn't say I was going to make them change places, did I? This time I said I would make the King go in there. I didn't say anything about something happening to the 5 because you see in here now I've actually got 2 cards. I've got the King and the 5, and that is a miracle.
What the hell? That's nuts, dude. That's so good.
Now, I love this routine, I really do. There's so much to like about it. First of all, you don't need a table. There's no table required. The WOW is used, but not throughout the whole of the trick. So you can bring it in partway through, which works really, really well for me. But the big point is the fact that the ending is just killer. They don't see the ending coming at all because of the time misdirection between when you inserted the card into the WOW and when you reveal that there's 2 cards in there. Now, this concept of putting 2 cards into a WOW, I've not really seen anyone else do this before, but it's perfect. 2 cards fit into a WOW perfectly. Not only do they fit into a WOW perfectly, because it's a snug fit, when you put them in there, it doesn't look like there's more than 1 card. You can even hand it to a spectator and it'll look like just 1 card. It's like giving somebody a perfect double. So if you look at the construction of the routine, you've got a phase where you know, like a king and a 5 change places, and then a king and a 5 change places again, and that happens a couple of times. Then you introduce the WOW gimmick, and you say, well, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to put this card inside this sleight of hand protector. You put it in there, and that's the point that you're loading the double. But you've still got 2 phases before you reveal that there's 2 cards in there. So you're still, at that point, doing a transposition with just the WOW and a single card. And that moment where you show the transpositions taking place and then you say, well, what's over there? And it kicks back. That's a double take moment. That's one of the strongest moments in the whole of the routine. I love that moment. But then, and go back and look at the reaction from Matt. You give them, they're convinced that they've got like the 5 there inside the WOW. They're convinced that the 5's in there. You give it them, they hold it in between their hands. And it's almost like it's a kicker ending, because you say to them, hey, I'm going to make this disappear and it's going to go inside there. And boom, you do the rub away vanish, the card vanishes. And then when they turn over the WOW gimmick in their hand, they see that the king's there. It's a really strong moment, but they just think that that's it. They think that the king and the 5 change places. And that's when you hit them with the thing where you say, well, hang on a minute, I didn't say they were going to change places. I said that the king was going to go in there. Look at this. And then you pull 2 cards out. It's like 2 cards. It's like the spectators holding 1 card and a second card just appears in between their hands. It's a really strong moment. It really is. That nobody ever sees coming. And the beautiful thing is, when you finish, you can take out the 2 cards. You're left with a regular deck of cards. Also, what's nice is you're not signing the 5. There's some routines where you want to get a force deck with a 5 of hearts. If your WOW is set up with a 5 of hearts, and you can get various different ones. But if the WOW is set up with a 5 of hearts, you want to get a force deck, right? Because sometimes you're going to sign a card, and when you sign it, it's going to be difficult to you know, if you've only got 1 5 in the deck, it's going to be difficult to do any of the routines that night with the gimmick, right? So having a force deck and putting a few cards in your top pocket is really good. But in this particular routine, nothing's signed. So you're left with a regular deck of cards. You're ready to go again at a moment's notice if you want to. You put the WOW gimmick away, and nobody's interested in looking at the WOW because the focus is on the playing cards. The WOW becomes completely immaterial. And I want to make a point on that, actually. You can get ungimmicked WOWs. And I've actually got a couple of routines with ungimmicked WOWs, for sure. Combining ungimmicked WOWs with gimmick WOWs. And I've got a couple of different routines, which I'll share, not on this video, I'll share in the next video. But, excuse me, but, what's the point I'm trying to make? But a lot of the routines that you're going to see on this video, they're constructed in a way where, there's no heat on the WOW that's being used. That's just a prop that you've bought in to prevent sleight of hand or to isolate that card or whatever it may be. And this routine is a perfect example. They don't focus on the WOW, they focus on the transposition between the cards. The WOW is just brought in at one point to make the whole routine seem cleaner. So there you go, that's the first routine I wanted to share with you. It's very, very commercial, takes up no pocket space. It's just a regular deck of cards and a WOW gimmick, and you're good to go anytime, anywhere. It's a really fun routine. Now, we're gonna take that concept of putting a double into the WOW, and we're gonna expand on that with another routine that's really super fun to perform, that's using the same principle. So let's have a look at how we can expand that. Let's look at that routine right now. So this particular routine is called WOW Split. And what's WOW Split? Well, WOW Split basically is, how to describe it? So WOW Split is a little bit like the inspiration was from Paul Harris's Las Vegas Split, where he had a 4 that split into 2s and the 2s split into aces. I've always liked that plot. I've got a few different variations of that plot. And when I was playing around with loading a double into a WOW instead of a single, I realized that what you could do is you could do a really fun card revelation by forcing, if you're using a 5 of hearts, for example, like I am in this video, I realized that you could load a double into the WOW as one card. You're openly putting one card apparently into the WOW, but you're loading a double, but then you can show it's the same card that you put in, which allows you to do a really cool split, which is very, very visual. Now, that probably sounds a little bit confusing, so let me show you a performance of this so you can see what it looks like, and then after the performance, we'll talk about why I love this routine so much.
Hey, Matt.
Hello.
I've got this now. I showed you this a little bit earlier, if you remember. It's the casino cut card. I actually lied to you. It's my job. It's not casino cut card. There are such things as casino cut card. You actually can get them. And a lot of croupiers do use them, but this is not casino cut card. And the way you can tell is because it's got this little thing. You can actually insert a card in here. I'll tell you genuinely what this is used for. This is for people that collect cards. That can be, like, you know, people that collect, like Rylan collects football cards or baseball cards. Some of them can be very valuable. And also, I know you're not a giant geek, but Pokemon cards, collectible card games like Magic the Gathering and stuff, you'll have card protectors like this to get. Some cards are worth like millions of dollars, so you keep them really safe. That's what that's for. The reason I'm showing you this is because I'm going to use it to do something pretty cool. But first of all, I need you and Jack to both pick a card.
Okay.
So there's 52 cards.
Ladies
here.
first.
Jack, as you're behind the camera, as I go down through the deck, you're just going to say stop.
Stop.
Cool. So that'll be your card. We'll show you that in a minute. And Matt, say stop.
Start.
That will be your card. So, first of all, that's yours, Jack.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's yours, Matt.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep.
Cool. And you pop your card back into the deck for me, Matt. There we go. And we're going to leave it down in the pack, give the cards a few cuts, and do the same thing with Jack's for me. Just pop that there as well. And that one will go down into the deck with a few cuts. I will even shuffle the cards just to make sure that those two cards have gone. So now I'm going to try and find your cards.
Okay.
Are you ready? This is pretty cool. Watch. If I just give the deck a cut. I think I need to. No, I think I got it. Okay. I think I might have got one of your cards. Was your card a heart?
Yeah.
Excellent. Was your card a heart?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I've got one of them. The 5 of hearts. Was that your card?
No.
Was that your card?
Nope.
There's a technical term for this. It's called a cock-up.
Have you messed one up?
A little bit. Hang on.
Have you got that on film?
Hang on. No. I can fix this. In fact, I'll fix it. I won't use sleight of hand. What I'll do is I'll put the cards, the 5 of hearts in there. Okay? Yeah?
Right.
Watch.
You haven't messed it up, have you? This is part of
Well,
it.
no. I'm going to put the 5 of hearts in here, so there's no way I can cheat. You can see that's fair, right? It's isolated inside there.
Yeah.
Yes? What was the name of your card?
3 of hearts.
3 of hearts. What was the name of your card?
2 of hearts.
Well, technically, I got it right now.
Oh, here we
No, I did, didn't I? Because, I mean, what's 3 plus 2? 5. So if you add your 2 cards together, technically this 5 of hearts is correct. If I wanted to actually have it as your cards, I just literally need to split that 5 into 2, which is a difficult thing to do anyway. But when it's isolated by a piece of plastic, it makes it even harder. But if I can just do this, what happens is now...
What the? No one. Oh my god.
Did that just happen?
Oh my god.
How weird's that?
So this routine makes a perfect opener. It really does. It's a great opening routine because it's over very, very quickly. All you need is a regular deck of cards with a very small setup on top. You just force a couple of cards. You just force a couple of cards. You do a card control. You do a triple lift. You take off the double, load it into the WOW, and you're good to go. I mean, there's nothing really to it. But anybody who's ever done a card splitting routine before will tell you that that moment where you split the cards is super fair. And I find that this is a great way to lead it. This is a great opening routine that you can then use to lead into a 4 of a kind production where you are doing an open split of the aces, a little bit like a variant of Las Vegas split by Paul Harris. So what I tend to do when I use this is I have the aces and the twos and the fours set up for the Paul Harris routine on top of the deck, and then I have this routine set up on top of that. So what I do is I go into this routine, I have two people pick cards, I tell them I'm going to try and find them. Was this your card? No. Was this your card? No. Did you pick hearts? Yes. Oh, brilliant. I can do this then. You take the 5 off, you put it in, you do the routine that you just saw the performance of. It visually splits, and then you take them both out, which is an incredible moment. And that allows you to then say, well, that's just something I can do. I can split cards easily. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but let me prove that to you. I tell you what, we won't even use this. We'll just use the deck of cards. And I'm going to get you to pick a card. And now I force the 4, and I'm then into the 4 of a 4 ace production, using that 4 to go into Las Vegas split. So, I actually use the Greg Wilson version of Card Stunts, if you want to know the version I actually use. The point is, this makes a great lead-in to a 4 of a kind production. And again, no table required, very easy to do. But that concept of putting a double into a WOW instead of a single really makes this, because as long as they're convinced that there's one card that's going in there, and trust me, when you put that double in there, because it's so snug, they can look at that, you can hand it to them if they want to, and they can just see a 5. It looks so fair. And then boom, you've got the split, and it happens in the spectator's hands, and you take the cards out and give it them. They want to look at the cards, they don't want to look at the WOW. Now, the other advantage of this routine is, once again, you're not having anything signed. You don't need to have anything signed. So because you don't need to have anything signed, it means that because you're not having anything, because you're not having anything signed, what it means is that you're ready to go immediately again without having to get another 5 of hearts into the deck. So it's a really fun routine. What I want you guys to do now, I'm going to go through other applications of loading a double into a WOW on the second video that I talked about. I'm only going to go through these 2 routines now, but think about how you can actually take that principle of putting a double or even a triple into a WOW and what that will allow you to do, because trust me, there's an awful lot you can do with that. But having said that, let's start having a look now at another trick with the WOW. Okay, so this is another concept that you can use with a WOW that's very, very different and very, very out there. And it's the concept of loading a card into the WOW and then stealing it out under misdirection of something else happening. I'm going to talk about this more in a minute. Let's show you an example of what you can do with this. I'm going to use this for a sandwich routine, a one-phase sandwich routine, where a card, it's more of an impossible location type thing, where the selected card is going to vanish and appear in between 2 kings underneath the spectator's hand. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at the performance, and then we'll talk about why this actual technique that I'm using in this routine is so powerful.
Yeah, with Matt. How you doing, Matt? You okay?
I'm good, man.
Good stuff. We can do a trick with a pack of cards here, all right? And you're going to get to pick one of these cards. So you get a free choice of any one. So as I riffle down the deck, just say stop.
Stop.
Cool beans. That one right there. Are you happy with that one?
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm gonna pop it here into this card. In fact, you can put it in. It just goes underneath the lip. Just shove it in there. Is that cool? So that you can see it in there. Yeah. Now I want you to go through the deck and just take out the 2. Do you want to use the jacks, queens, or kings for this?
Jacks. Because we've got a jack.
Okay. Red jacks or black jacks?
Black.
Okay. So take out the 2 black jacks if that's okay. And when you're done, let me know.
There you go.
Don't even want to use the rest of the deck. We're just going to use the 2 blackjacks, right? So we've got the jack of clubs and the jack of spades, yeah? Now I want you to watch. And your 5 that we put inside here, yeah?
Yeah.
Watch. I'm going to show you something incredible with the two jacks. All right, so I'm going to put them there. Put your hand on top. I'll put your other hand on top. Watch. Are you ready? You see that card there, the 5 of hearts, yeah?
Yeah.
Watch this. If I snap my fingers, do you know what happens?
What?
I'm slowly going to try and make that card transport from inside this container to in between the jacks under your hand. Watch. You'll see it go. You see it vanish? Card's gone. You put it in there yourself.
I did put it in there myself.
It's vanished. Do you know why? Lift up your hand. Now there's 3 cards.
What the fuck? I did put it in there.
You did, didn't you?
Now, I've got a few different ways of actually using the technique that you saw there, but the technique basically is putting the 5 forcing the card that the WOW is set up to be, in this case the 5 of hearts, putting it into the WOW, so let them see it front and back. And then if you hold the WOW, so the back is towards the audience, as if you're about to do like a Tenkai steal, and you put the WOW down on the table, you can immediately Tenkai palm that card out of the WOW. But because the WOW is activated, you see the 5 in the WOW. They've just seen the back and the front, so they think that the card's still in there, even though it's in Tenkai palm. That's the concept behind this. Now, I've got a lot of applications of this. On this particular video, I'm just sharing this one application, but we're going to go through lots of other ways that you can actually use this concept in the next video that's coming in a few months. But what we have here is a very different use of the WOW, because now we can have a card apparently on the table, isolated in a plastic sleeve, whilst in reality, it's palmed out from the very beginning. Now, that allows us to do a couple of things. It allows us, first of all, to do the most insanely visual vanish ever, because if they believe that 5 is still inside that WOW gimmick, then when you shake it and it vanishes and there's nothing there, that's an incredibly strong moment. But the other thing it allows you to do is load that card anywhere that you want it to. So in the context of this particular routine, I forced the 5, I had it put in there, I made sure that they put it in there themselves. And you can do this in front of the audience, but I like to have some misdirection. So in this particular routine, the misdirection was, hey, take 2 cool cards out. You get to decide which ones. Everybody's focusing on the magician, on the layperson or the audience member that's spreading through the cards. And in that moment, I just put the WOW down on the table and I Tenkai palm out the card. And then I can load it anywhere I want to. In this case, I took the kings or jacks or whatever it was, and I loaded the card down. I just did a simple sandwich loading move, right? It's not a difficult routine to do. Now, it is one of those ballsy moves. It's a little bit like card in the box. The first time you hear something like this, you're like, hang on a minute, are you serious? Is this what we're doing? Really? 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 But when you actually try it, again, it's like card in the box. You try it and you realise you can do anything. You can load a deck under a box. You can load a deck in a box. Nobody's ever going to see anything. It's the same with this, with a WOW. With a little bit of misdirection, you can steal it out right under the nose of the spectator and nobody ever sees anything. And I actually use routines like this walk around. So I'll actually have them put the card into the WOW and I'll just openly steal it out. As I say, hold your hand out, I'm just going to put this on their hand. So they're apparently holding onto the card the entire time, while in reality it's gone. Now, if you actually do it that way, you can have that sleeve with that 5 on display into the spectator's hand. You can grab their other hand and put it on top, and as you do, your thumb can just activate the WOW at that end, so that then when they lift up their hand, the card's vanished in between their hands. Now think about how powerful that is. You can vanish a card, a spectator puts the card into the sleeve, they are convinced that the card is in there, and yet it vanishes in their hands and appears wherever the hell you want to put it. Like, it's really strong. And there's a big disconnect between the actual moment of magic and the perceived moment of magic. The actual moment of magic, the time that the move's done, is when you're stealing the card out the deck. But the nice thing is you've got a lot of built-in time misdirection, because once you've stolen the card, they still think the 5's there. You've still got it on display. So I can load this or do anything that I want to with this. And there's a big disconnect. There's a lot of time misdirection between when I steal the card out and when they actually see the card vanish in whatever way that I want to use it. So this is a really simple way of actually using this concept. I'm going to go through a lot more in future videos, but think about it. Think about it. Get your creativity flowing. How can you take the idea of using a WOW to vanish a card? How can you actually take this and go in a completely different direction with it. What could you do? Think about it. Think of some really creative uses for this, because what you have is the ultimate vanish. It's a way of vanishing a card that the spectator still sees right up until the very last second. It's a very cool concept. Now, let's talk about another way to use the WOW. Okay, so the next routine that I'm going to be talking about is angle WOW. And this is basically my application of the angle Z concept to the WOW gimmick. And I realized very early on when I was playing around with WOW that if you tore a corner off a card and put it into the WOW gimmick and activated the WOW, you can't tell that the corner's torn. You can cover the corner when you're showing the back, but then when you show the face, you can show it completely full, which is a really nice way, really cool. I mean, it's a really cool way of making people believe that nothing's happened to that card that they've picked. Now, there's many different ways that you can do this, and you know, you really should look into the original Angle Z. 100% you should look into the original Angle Z. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. It doesn't matter. It's not important. There we go. It's really cool. You really should look into the original Angle Z, because Angle Z is absolutely incredible. It's such a great concept. But, by the by, Angle Z is an amazing concept. But what we have here is a way to actually make the vanish of the corner more visible. So let's have a look at a performance of this so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, and then I'll talk about the pros and cons. I have this card collector's case here. We'll get back to that in a bit. Is the coin okay?
Yeah.
That is a beautiful coin. That's a silver dollar.
It is a beautiful coin.
We're going to do something with it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All you have to do is watch as I go up and down. Do you know what happens? That coin vanishes completely at the tips of the fingers. Doesn't go far. I don't have sleeves. I don't need sleeves because it's actually gone right here into your hat. It's not bad, right? It's okay. Let me do that again for you, okay? Because maybe you missed it. Maybe you missed it. Look, I did it with the coin. Now, when I do this, people think, well, hang on a minute. There's something that he's doing to make that coin jump somewhere. There's something that's happening. So we're going to do the same thing again with a pack of cards, okay?
Okay.
And we're going to, and if you think I'm using sleight of hand, well, A, a card is bigger, so you can see that I can't use sleight of hand. But B, I'm going to do something to completely eliminate sleight of hand. So you're going to pick a card, and you're going to have a totally free choice here. So I'm going to give the cards a cut. I'm just going to deal cards onto the table. Anytime you want to, just say stop.
Stop.
Do you want one more card, or are you okay?
One more.
One more card. Boom. Are you okay?
One more.
Oh my God. Okay, one more card. Are you okay?
One more.
So annoying. How's that? Is that all right? Yeah?
One more.
One more, okay.
Oh yeah, it's got my name on it.
Yeah,
but
that one. We're not having that one. We're having the one you can't see.
Oh, okay. Go on then.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to use this card. We're not going to use the rest. And you could have stopped anywhere. And I'm going to pop it inside this case, inside this little collector's case, so you can see I'm not cheating. Is that fair? Yeah?
Yeah.
Now watch. This is really weird. I want you to watch here. Do you see the 5?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and do it with just a piece of this card. You know when I made the coin vanish and I made it appear somewhere else?
Yeah.
Watch the piece of the card. I'll do just the corner. Do you see right there?
Yeah.
If I just shake.
Huh? What the hell?
The piece of the card vanishes.
What the hell?
Right?
Sorry, I just grabbed at that. I didn't even...
It's fine, grab. Because here's what's interesting. What happened when I made the coin disappear? What happened when I made the coin disappear?
No! It's not in my hat.
Look, hands are empty, hands are empty.
No! Oh my God!
And check it. Does it fit? It's an exact
It fucking does
match.
fit. It really does fit.
Yep. So that was Angle Z, or Angle WOW, my application of Angle Z. And as you can see, it's a very, very simple concept. Now, the torn corner piece can go absolutely anywhere you want it to go. It's totally up to you, wherever. Absolutely fine, not a problem. That's not the thing. The most important thing to note about this is just how visual the vanish of the piece is. Because once again, if you justify the use of the WOW and you justify exactly why it's there, then it's just such a beautiful moment of taking that card, putting it into the WOW, and immediately they can see that it is what it's meant to be. It doesn't look dodgy at all. It looks brilliant. It means that you can make that vanish. You can put all the emphasis on the vanish, which you normally can't do with angle Z, but you can put the emphasis on the vanish. You can say to them, look, there's the card inside there. There's no way I can manipulate that card. There's no way I can get to it. Watch the corner. Boom, done. And then they can take the card out and the piece just vanishes, and you can make it go wherever you want it to go. I think that loading a torn card into a WOW gimmick and showing it's not torn is one of the smartest applications of a WOW. And I'm really surprised that not more people have done anything with this. So if you do angle Z, brilliant. This is just going to allow you to make the whole thing slightly more visual. And once again, the emphasis is not on the WOW. The emphasis, the thing they want to examine is the torn card. Or the piece that appears wherever you want it to appear. I spoke to Matt after doing a lot of filming, and this particular trick is one of the favorites out of everything that I've ever shown him. So that should say a lot. So once again, I want this video to really inspire people's creativity. You've just seen how you can use a WOW gimmick to hide a torn corner. What else can you use it for? What else could you use a WOW gimmick to hide? What else could you tear? Could you tear the center of the card out? How much could you get away with? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Okay, so the next trick that we're going to be looking at is Signature WOW. Now, Signature WOW is actually my application of a very old concept by Dave Williamson. And it was in his book, his very first book. And he had this really cool idea of using this special substance to take a card that somebody had signed and pull the signature off at the end. And I remember buying the stuff that you needed to be able to do this, and it always got a really great reaction. You know, that moment where you peel the signature off looked great. And then many, many years later, when I picked up my WOW, I saw so many people taking cards and just making signatures appear on the cards. And I was like, well, you could do that in reverse, couldn't you? And that's what we've got with this routine. So I went to have a look at the performance. You'll notice in the middle of the performance, I'm going into a completely separate trick, and I use a KM move to correct myself. This was in a day where we were doing a lot of filming, so I apologize for that. But let's have a look at this. This is a full performance of Signature WOW.
And it actually follows up to a trick I just did. We just did a trick and a card appeared in between two jacks, didn't it? And it was the 5 of hearts. We've got it right here. I'm going to use that card to answer a question that pretty much everybody ever in the entire history of Magic has always asked me. They always ask the same question every single time.
How'd you do that?
No. They ask, and it's always the same question. It's always a really important question. What do you do with all of the cards that you have signed? It's like, oh, because people who don't know me or don't know magicians, they find it absurd that yet magicians have people sign cards because you're ruining that deck of cards. Now, you know me. I get through about 55 packs of cards a minute.
Yeah.
So for me, I couldn't give two poops. But a lot of people who like had the same deck of cards for like 10 years and they keep it in their drawer in their family, like game cupboard, and then what happens is every Christmas they go in to play Go Fetch and it's covered in it's like a slab because it's covered in crap from decades of like red wine and what. I'm going into this too much, am I? Basically, the point is
spend another tenner and get another deck.
Exactly, but people that think it's offensive that I have cards signed. So I'll show you what I do.
Don't you give them away though as souvenirs?
Sometimes, only if I like them. Only if I like the person. So. To be honest, I don't give many away. Generally don't like people.
I've got loads of them.
Yeah, that was an accident. Sign the card.
If I'm ever famous,
yeah,
I could sell all the cards that I've got signed.
You could, man. You've got so many of them. It's ridiculous.
I'd buy one of you, Matt.
Would ya?
Yeah.
Fiver. I've got one on my desk.
So this is what I do. Okay, if somebody wants to I was going into a completely different trick. So what happens, you see, sometimes you have to just vary things up on the fly. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing, Matt. Genuinely. Do you know
What is going on?
how many fucking tricks I do on this channel? I'm surprised I keep up. Right, I was going into a completely different trick there, but I'm veering back on course.
Okay, yeah. Nobody noticed, dude. It's
Nobody noticed. So I'm going to show you what I do if I choose not to give the card out to people.
Right.
What I do is I just remove the signature. That's all I do. I just remove the signature.
Okay.
It's really easy to move the signature. You see where it says Matt right there, yeah?
Yeah.
All I have to do, well, watch, I just do this. And I can take the signature off the card, and now there's no signature, so I can use it again, you see. That's what I do. I just remove the signature. And then what I can do is I can take the card, I can put it away in my deck, and I don't have a signature anymore, so I'm good. But, you know,
Wait, what?
I told you to remove the signature.
Yeah, but there really isn't a signature on it.
I know there isn't. That's what I just said. I removed it. You just saw it go. I removed the signature.
Yeah, but there really isn't a signature.
No, because I removed the bloody signature. Keep up.
No, but that's not a trick, is it? Like, you actually removed the signature.
I actually removed the signature. I took the signature off.
Is that a thing?
But if you said to me...
it can't be, can it?
Well, it is. I've just done it. But let's say you wanted to have the card as a souvenir and you're upset and you went, oh, I wanted to keep that card as a souvenir. This is what I do. Look, I just put the card here. I give you the pen. And I just say, pretend to do your signature exactly as you did it before. There you go. Good as new.
What the...
You're following now?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
So what I like about that routine is it's the perfect trick to do at the end of an ambitious card. Now, I actually used it there as a standalone piece to show you what it would look like as a standalone piece, and for sure you could use this as a standalone piece, no problem at all. However, I think the power with this is actually using it as a finale to a routine where a card's been signed. It could be mystery card, it could be card in the box, it could be card to pocket, it could be ambitious card, whatever. Any routine where a card's signed, because one of the things that people say, and I'm sure you've had that as well, when they have them sign the card, they go, oh, isn't that going to ruin your deck? Well, you know, what I love about this is, as a magician, you should be able to fix things by magic. So if somebody says, oh, you've ruined your deck, you go, no, I can just take the signature off by magic. What do you mean? Well, let me show you. And it's almost like it's not a trick. You're just showing them how cool it is to be a magician. And that moment where you have the signed card inside the WOW, and they see it's the signed card, and then boom, you make the signature vanish. That's the magical moment right there. They just see it vanish. But then what's really nice is you take the card out and you put it on the deck, and they see that it really has vanished. It's not like some ambiguous thing. The signature's really vanished. And then you have the whole thing where you go, you could end it there. You could just end up taking the signature off and just going on with something else. Or you could do what you saw me do in the video, which is then getting them to sign it again and having the signature go back on. Now, that's one application of this principle, but the idea of having a signature vanish is really cool. There's a couple of different ways that you can go with this, and I want you to think about your creativity. I'm going to be sharing other ideas with this on future videos, but think about the concept of making a pseudo duplicate. Think about having a card that's signed, and then you make the signature vanish. And you go, you see, I can make anything vanish, not just the card, but the signature. Now, tell you, can you sign it again? Now you've created a pseudo duplicate that you could use in a plethora of different ways. Or imagine you're doing like a back in time style presentation where you're talking about time travel, and you're taking a card and you're making go back in time and then come forward in time again and go backward and forward in time. Well, wow. You know, can you imagine having that moment? So, hey, so now we've gone back in time to when you picked a 5. Let's go forward in time to when you've got the card signed. Look, there it is. There's the card. Sorry, you've got the card signed. Let's go back in time to when you didn't even sign the card. But then obviously you then did sign the card, so we're going to go forward in time. The presentational opportunities are really limitless. So think about how you can use this concept, yeah? Think about how you can use it in your own magic. We're now going to move on, and we're going to look at another application of the WOW, and this is very different because the way that we're going to be using it now We're not even going to be using it to put a card inside. Okay, so this routine is called blank, and this is the concept of using a WOW to hide the fact that you're using a blank deck of cards. So really, it's used as a subtlety more than anything else. You have the WOW on the face of the deck, you have an elastic band wrapped around the deck, so they can apparently see that the cards have got faces on them. You then go into this really cool routine, which is a really fun routine to do, and the WOW, as I say, is just there to convince the people that it's a regular deck of cards. It's used as a subtlety more than anything else, which is an interesting concept. Let's have a look at a performance of it, and then after we've looked at a performance, we'll talk more about why I like this routine so much.
Matt, I'm going to show you an amazing trick. Okay,
Cool.
Using a deck of cards, and when I do card magic, a lot of the time people say, "Hey, Craig, you're using sleight of hand." Do you know why they say that?
Why?
Because I do use sleight of hand. Kind of thing, really.
That makes
However,
sense,
I can do real magic, and I'm going to show you the difference between sleight of hand and real magic using one of these pieces of plastic. Now, have you ever seen one of these before? This is called a casino cut card, and the idea of it is simply you use it to croupiers use it when you're playing cards in the casino. You'd put it somewhere into the middle of the deck, and they would cut the cards at that point, so it stops you from it stops them or you from cheating, basically. I'm going to put that over there. We're going to use that in a bit to show you what real magic looks like. But first of all, to give you a frame of reference, I'm going to have to show you what sleight of hand looks like, okay?
Okay.
So we're going to have you pick a card, and you can genuinely pick any card you want to. I'm completely indifferent to the choice you're about to make, and then you're going to sign it. So just touch a card. That one there. You sure you're happy with that one? It doesn't matter whether I see it, the 10 of spades. That cool?
Okay.
Cool. So can you sign the card for me? That would be great. Now that makes the card relatively unique. I say relatively unique. With anybody else in the world, I would say that makes the card unique, but I'm fairly sure that there's nobody in the world that's signed as many cards as you have at this point. So,
one or two, I'd have thought, yeah.
So for you,
fair share of Sharpies in my time.
you're the reason that Sharpie had profits in the pandemic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I need sponsorship by Sharpie.
You do indeed. So check this out. First of all, sleight of hand. Look, you saw me cut the card into the pack and I mixed it up, yeah?
Yeah.
Sleight of hand would look like this. I snap my fingers and the card comes to the top of the pack. I mean, that's the sleight of hand, right? It's just a hand being quicker than the eye. Let me do that again for you. The card really does go down in the middle of the deck. You see it going in, you square up the sides, you press the button, you snap your fingers and it comes straight to the top. Sometimes people say, well, Craig, it's not really going in the pack. It genuinely is. Look, it really goes in there. Push it in yourself. You pushed it in there yourself, yeah?
Yeah.
Press the button on top. Snap your fingers. Honestly, you could be a magician if you wanted to.
I know it's happening and I still don't know how he does it. It's so annoying.
Well, let's go slowly. Let's go slowly. Look, I'm going to leave it face up, right? And put it face up into the middle of the deck. About halfway down. In fact, let me come over here so you can see. Do you see the deck?
Yeah.
I mean, that looks pretty impressive, right? It almost looks like it rises up through
What? I've not seen that one before.
Now, I could keep doing this forever, right? I could keep having your card come to the top of the pack over and over again. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can go one step further with this. I'm going to pop your card about halfway down. Do you want to push it in yourself? You can do it if you want to. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So, I want to show you something really, really weird. Now, can you do me a favor? I'm going to pop this here on top and wrap the elastic band around again. Like that. So now there's no way I can do sleight of hand because I've got an elastic band wrapped around the deck and I've got this casino cut card on the top. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Watch the cards. Watch the ink on the cards because you're about to see that ink vanish. See if I could do real magic. The ink would go like that. And I'm deadly serious because now there's no ink on that card. There's no ink on that card, on that card, on that card, on that card. Every single card in the deck, the ink has vanished except for one card, which was your 10 of spades. Of course, I understand how that works. What I don't understand is how you could have had any one of these cards that have now turned blank. And yet your card is now the only one with a red back that says your card right there. And my friend, you can check it all out.
So this is one of my favourite routines to do, is like a standalone performance piece. I love performing this. A lot of the time when you're using a blank deck, you want to switch the blank deck in or do some sort of deck switch, but this really stands alone as a standalone bit. And I was at a corporate gig the other week, and I knew I didn't have much time on each table, and I literally, every other table did this trick, because there is so much magic that's in this trick, so much magic that's inherent, and so many magical moments. And at the end, the deck turns blank and everything is examinable. Now, we've all seen lots of different ways of a deck turning blank, and a lot of the time it's not examinable. But with this, the deck's examinable. And as I say, the use of the WOW gimmick does two things. One, it convinces people that it's a regular deck. But secondly, as well as convincing people it's a regular deck, you've got that beautiful moment at the end where you see the faces just melt away and the ink just drain out. And then you show that every card is blank. Now, at that point, guess where the spectators want to look? They want to look at the deck. They don't want to look at the WOW. That's become unimportant. The important part is the deck. They've just turned this entire deck turn blank, and it's incredible. It's like, wow, how did that happen, right? So, again, I really want this video to try and encourage your own creativity and think about different ways that you can actually take the WOW yourself and in your own work. So think about how you can use the WOW. When I look at a prop, what I do is I think about how the prop is designed to be used. In the case of a WOW, it's designed to be used by putting a card in the WOW, right? That's what it's used for. What can you do if you don't put a card in there? What can you do if you use it in a different way? How would that look? What would it look like if you used it to cover the face of a deck? And how would that be useful? And how could you justify that? This is kind of the creative process you want to go through. And a lot of the time you'll hit, sometimes you won't hit, but if you just keep going at it, you'll find some really great ideas. And honestly, this blank routine is one of my favorite routines to perform. Okay, so this particular routine is called signature transpo. And this is the idea of a signature jumping from one card to the other. And it's a 2-deck trick, and it's incredibly simple. It really is. The 2 decks take like 5 seconds to set up, but it makes a great opening routine. And it's very interesting using the WOW in conjunction in this way. You'll see what I mean. I'm not going to say any more. Let's have a look at a performance of the routine. Whenever we look at a performance of the routine, we'll talk about it more.
Hey Matt, I'm going to show you one more thing with this little card collector's case. I love using this because it genuinely makes things feel so much fairer. Because when I can't hold something or manipulate it, then I can't do anything dodgy with it. And that's why I love using it.
It's not that's like...
No, it's just literally just a see-through thingy-bob.
You can see straight through it.
Of course you can. That's the whole point of this. Yeah. Anyway, we can do something with that. I mean, I've got 2 packs of cards, and you're going to make all the decisions. Grab that pen for me there, Matt. That's great. You're going to make all the decisions. So decision number 1, you're going to have a card picked from one of these decks. Do you want to pick the card from the red deck or the blue deck?
What do you want to do, Jack? Red or blue?
Red.
Red.
Red deck. So you're picking the card from the red deck. Perfect. And it genuinely, and I really do mean this, it makes absolutely no difference what card you pick. So I'm just going to go through, and you're just going to touch a card. Touch one. Anyone you want to? That one there. You sure? You happy with that?
Yeah.
5 of hearts. That's weird. We've peeled it out a couple of times now, but that's fine. Do me a favour. Can you sign on the face that 5 of hearts for me? Nice. So we're going to pop your signed card, and you chose to have that picked from the red deck, yeah?
Yeah.
From the blue deck, I'm going to take out a 5 of hearts, because you picked a 5, so I'll take a 5 from the blue deck as well. Okay? Happy?
Mm-hmm. Red 5. It's Nigel Mansell.
I know, right? So we've got the 2 5s. We've got the red 5, and we've got the blue 5, and we've got the red 5. We're going to try and do something really weird here. I'm going to take the blue 5, the blue 5, not the red 5, the blue 5. I'm going to pop it away inside my little case. So the blue 5, the one that you didn't sign, goes in the case, right? Mm-hmm. Hold your hand up for me. I'm going to put the red 5, the one that you did sign, in between your hands. We'll put the rest of the deck away. So the only important thing is the red 5 and the blue 5. Okay?
Okay.
Now, I've talked to you before about transpositions and the idea of making things change places, haven't I?
Yeah.
Making two objects change places. I'm going to try and do that, but instead of making the 5s change places, I'm going to make the signature change places. So I'm going to try and take the signature off the red card and put it onto the blue card.
Right.
And there's no way I can cheat because it's isolated inside here. Watch. You see here? You see the 5? You signed it about there, didn't you?
In the middle, yeah.
The hard part is getting it in the right spot, but if I do this and wait a second, now I can get the signature.
What the hell?
On the blue backed 5. And if the signature's on the blue back 5, have a look at the red back 5, there's no signature, I took it off.
No.
No.
Okay, so that's signature transpo, and honestly, this is a great way to start a tabled set. If you're going to do card tricks, having 2 decks of cards on the table and starting off by saying, hey, I'm going to show you something with 2 decks of cards. I'm going to have you pick a card, boom, 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 boom. And it's just really nice because they're what I think one of the nicest things about this particular routine is the clarity of what's going on, in that they know, for example, the 5 is taken from the red deck and that's the one that's signed. And they know that the blue card isn't signed. You could, if you wanted to, remove the WOW and just have the moment happen with the 2 cards on the table. But the use of the WOW allows you to have that really nice visual moment that they don't see coming. It allows you to have the signature vanish and appear on the other card visually. And I think that sometimes the use of the WOW is best when it's used in this manner. It's a little bit like the routine that we talked about earlier on, the sandwich, not the sandwich routine, the transposition routine, where the 2 cards change places. The use of the WOW only comes in halfway through the routine. Well, with this, the WOW's in play from the very, very beginning, but it's not the most important part of the routine. And again, as soon as that change takes place, the cards can be examined, which is great because it means that there's no heat on the WOW Gimmick. You're left with a regular deck of cards. You can go into any other routine you want to go into. You can ditch one of the decks and just use a red deck or a blue deck, or you can do routines that involve 2 decks of cards. Whichever you want to do is absolutely fine. It's the concept of using the WOW to make a routine more visual and cleaner. And that's what you have here. Because if you didn't have the WOW, you'd still have a trick here. But by using the WOW, you can show, absolutely, look, there's the blue card. It doesn't have a signature on it. There's the red card. Watch, boom. And you make it jump, and you make it the signature jump from one card to another. The inspiration behind this, if you're interested, was Tattoo You by John Bannon from his book Smoke and Mirrors, which is a fantastic trick, and a trick that I'd done for years. And I was like, well, if I had 2 decks of cards in play and I used a WOW Gimmick, well, that would allow me to take this routine to an entirely other level and make it way more visual. And that's what's happened, and that's what I've done. And it's one of my favorite routines to perform. I love performing it, and I think you will as well, so give it a shot. So there you go, guys. That's 7 routines with the WOW. 7 different routines with the WOW. I'm going to be doing another video in a couple of months with another 7 routines. I'm going to share 14 routines altogether, but these are the first 7. Take these concepts and run with them yourself and see how you take that WOW out of your bottom drawer that you only ever use for that one thing, and think about how you can actually use this in a totally different way. Take the concepts I've shared with you and think about how you can actually apply that to your own magic. So what can you do with 2 cards loaded into a WOW? What can you do with stealing a card out of a WOW? What can you do with all of the other stuff that I shared with you? How can you take that WOW in a completely different direction? You probably will come up with something even better than I have, and in which case I'd really like to see it. Now, as I said, in the first or the second week of January, I'm going to be uploading explanations for all of these routines to the NETRIX. So if anybody wants to learn how any of them work, obviously, you feel free, if you're an experienced magician and you see how they work on this video, by all means, you've got my permission to use them however you see fit. That's the purpose of this video. But if you want full explanations, or you want me to break everything down for you, they're going to be going onto the NETRIX soon. But once again, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I said it at the beginning of the video. I'm going to reiterate it now. You guys are amazing. If it wasn't for the people watching this channel, I would not be doing Magic TV. So to everybody that's watched this video and made it all the way through, thank you very much. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. You want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be back again tomorrow with another video. It's going to be a live performance 5x5 special with 3 performances and commentary tracks from a gig that I had over Christmas, a walk around gig that I had over Christmas. We're going to analyze some of the routines that I did. And then on Tuesday, it's going to be the matchmentary. We're not slowing down here at Magic TV at all. Christmas doesn't stop us. But guys, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you once again for joining me. Don't forget, you want to check out the NETRIX, go to www.thenetrix.com. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.